Welcome everybody back to Spin Rack, and we're talking about something very important here. James Gunn has been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. Disney just couldn't take it. There were some old tweets that he had, and they basically said, you know, bro, later. The question now that's arising, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't have been fired for these old tweets that occurred prior to him getting onto the Guardians of the Galaxy products. Gentlemen, what do you guys think?
They jumped
Cal.
the gun.
Yeah.
They jumped the gun.
Well, nice play there. Nice play. Well, I believe Disney knew about these tweets when they hired him for Guardians of the Galaxy. These tweets were already out. They were live. And he deleted them. But the only reason why they're is obviously they must have cheesed off somebody, so they were preserved.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. They had to know about this when they hired him for the first film. But again, nobody expected Guardians of the Galaxy to jump off in the manner which it did. So it looks kind of, for me, it looks like, okay, well, we don't want to pay you. We don't want to pay you for the third movie or renegotiate your contract. So it's easier for us to sack you right over here. Well, he'll probably get work. I don't think he'll be blackballed or anything. But for me, more the underlining thing is this connection to this movement, which I will leave nameless at least for right now, where things that you've done previously are coming back to haunt you, even if it makes sense or not. This is something where the website that he was on, I believe the thing he was a part of.
Twitter?
No, it was like Trora or something of that nature. And that was the thing. These guys would make these off-color, provocative, offensive jokes. That's what they were doing. That's what people were doing at that site. He stopped doing it. He moved on from the whole thing. What they're saying is that you can't move on from this type of stuff. You can't do things that are stupid, wrong, even if it's something of that nature as like a horrible joke at the end of the day, but you acknowledge that that's what it was. You move on from it. We're never going to let you get past it. You must suffer for this for the rest of your life at the end of the day, because that's what it seems like. Other than that, it's like you can't make any sort of errors. And where someone says, oh, well, no, what he said was horrible. Yes. Okay, yes, but that was still within the context of what was supposed to be going on over here. It's not like this guy just went and did like a Roseanne or something of that nature, okay, where she doubles down on it and just can't let it go. He did it, stopped it, and you knew about it when you hired him. That's where it really gets dodgy for me.
So, Petey, what do you think about that? Do you think that's totally nonsense what he just said, or do you think he has a legitimate point?
I don't think they should have let him go. I don't think they should have pushed him out. I think the fact that it's already out there, it's already done. You take the action beforehand. You don't take the action way later and be like, oh, we have to assume that they didn't know. Of course they knew. It's not like someone, I mean, the thing is like this. If they decide when they drop the hammer, everyone is supposed to go and be like, yeah, look at this. This is bad. And whatever it is, you might not have liked it or whatever it might be. Let's not. Everyone, it's more like it seems like it's more a negotiation thing than as Cal was saying, and because it's so late in the game and both movies were, immensely successful.
Well, let me be the devil's advocate. Conservatives are basically saying, James Gunn comes out here, he does something wrong, conservatives do something wrong, and they try to pick, the liberals come out and just dredge up old things and try to use that as the standard bearer for what these guys actually continue to think. And so they're saying, if you can do one of these things, why can't you do that? If you're lambasting people who are conservative for doing this, then liberals should easily be lambasted the same way.
Well, we've seen this with, I don't know if he's a liberal or not, but Chris Hardwick, we saw it with him, where his relationship of years ago is made public, and this guy is put in a position where he needs people to come out and speak well about him, to defend him.
Hardwick, you mean?
Yeah.
You said Hard.
Sorry, I thought I did say Hardwick. Anyway, but he has to have people come out and speak. He has to speak about something that is a personal matter that was never public, was made public. He was never on trial for it. He was never arrested for anything, and yet he still has to come out and defend himself. Mm-hmm. Then you have someone like Al Franken. Okay, and Al Franken went down, not necessarily, Al Franken could have probably rolled that whole thing out if his party was willing to support him. They were like, no, we're not supporting you because we want to make certain that we have the option to nail anybody who's in this situation because we're going to be the party of moral rectitude. And it hasn't paid off. It hasn't paid off for them. Okay, and they lost. I thought they lost a very good senator in Al Franken. He was really good in terms of questioning, and they're going to have the Supreme Court thing coming up right now. So the drive seems to be, look, we're going to come over here and attack people, even if it's not in our own best, even if it's not in our own best interest, even if we don't get anything for it, because what? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you knew this guy when you hired him. You had to know all of that other type of stuff. There was no movement or anything of that nature for it now. And even with the second film, Okay, nothing of that nature. Now it's an issue. Now it's an issue, and what they're saying is, again, it's like you can't. For me, I think it's it's very insidious at the end of the day, because it's saying that you cannot live past any error, okay, any faux pas, any slip, any mistake that you've made, okay. And again, most of these things are not criminal acts; these are mistakes. Okay, they're mistakes at the end of the day,
So let's say,
and you can't get past
devil's
them.
advocate. So if you say something negative about African Americans and stuff like that, use a particular word.
It doesn't matter
I'm just
because you
saying,
already have Louis C.K. and what took him down wasn't all of the crazy tweets that he did while he was being a comedian and trying to be funny. So it's like this forum, and whenever he made the tweets, has points where people say things and people haven't take action. For me, it's always the timing that seems crazy, because it's like way later when the stuff is out there, you know, and it's not a problem because he's not, you know, I think now, but they were already up there, and it wasn't like he was trying to take him down or hide him, and it's from the past and came out of nowhere. There was no interest in it until someone decided, you know what, this is an issue now, and I feel that, I don't know. When you just reacted a little too, you know, they could have had him come out and apologize and say, I didn't mean anything by it. It was, as you said, a part of forum. We were pushing buttons and, you know,
did say that.
and then move on.
For these people, that's the thing. There's no apology is going to be acceptable. You can't move on for it. You need to be punished, and you need to be punished forever. It was like, no, I caught some interview the other day. They have Bill Clinton on. And the guy was asking him, you know, hey, did you ever apologize to Monica Lewinsky? And he says, no, I apologized to the entire world. He said, but did you ever apologize to her? And I was like, what kind of crazy, you're going to go apologize to your mistress? I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Who does that? What are you apologizing to her for?
You can't do that. You know, then it's like
Admitting guilt.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they're saying that,
handle in
look,
court.
the whole thing is that you need to be in this state of wallow, and you know, sorry, and you know, always hanging your head in shame over something, you know, over something that happened, you know, over 2 decades ago, that you've had to move past, that she's had to move past, and the whole, like, again, the way that the whole situation was played out. Well, again, I don't want to get too deep into it, but even in that situation right there, I don't know any guy who goes and apologizes to his mistress for, you know, for the affair, and that's what they were asking him to do. With, you know, again, I just don't understand. I don't understand the landscape right over here, because I was always for letting the punishment fit, you know, let the punishment fit the crime, but then we're all supposed to be able to have a certain amount of grace, and by those people who don't understand that, that means no, that you can change and become a better person at the end of the day. If you're still doing it, okay,
Yeah.
if you're still doing it, I can understand something, but if you understood that what you're doing is wrong, okay, you apologize for it, you seek to make amends for it, we're supposed to allow people to move on from it so they can become better people. If not, then hey, you get these people who just hardened, bitter, and then you get elections.
Well, going to what you were saying about like him saying a certain word, I've used Louis C.K. because he's using a certain word. He used it before and used it a crash comment, but it was like, okay, we're accepting that he's pushing buttons. This is what he's doing, and this is what is in his act. And he says this, he's crash and all this other stuff. And that was okay. With other stuff that came up had nothing relation to the terrible tweet. So it just depends on when your time is up and they decide, all right, it's your time. Now you got to pay for this thing. You owe this. You got to go through this now. Or the same with Tracy Morgan, like what he went down for, saying, you know, he had his comedy act, but he'd been saying crazy stuff while he was on 30 Rock when he's doing his comedy act. So it's just, the timing is always weird for me, because it always decides, like, you know what? I woke up this morning, James, you're the guy now, you know, and you paying what you. Again, like I feel like, all right, now you're gonna, you know, we're gonna take you to task for something you said that's been sitting there forever.
So I'm gonna give you the last word. Thank you very much, Petey. Everybody, Spinner Rack out.
Wait a second, you go out. What do you think?
Out. What I think?
Yes, don't turn the mic off. What do
We
you
gotta
think?
go. It's 3 o'clock. We gotta go. There's a guy coming.
Yeah, that was slick, Mario. That's why I wear this mask.